I don't know how they would develop to be and the things that would impact them. So the idea that the extent to which they will be compassionate or they will be empathetic, or I think for the sake of the argument, I can agree that empathy and compassion are natural things amongst human beings. But the thing that I would disagree with is the extent to which we are.
Yes.
I think that could be influenced by the person's natural disposition as well as the environment, society, all these types of things.
Sorry, it's just the verse, chapter 30 of the Quran.
Yeah.
I know you don't accept this book as a religious text, but just from the information. Chapter 30, verse 30. Let me just see. So the Quran states, okay. It mentions, فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِدِينِ حَنِيفًا. It's a command. So establish your face, establish yourself to the upright religion. فِطْرَةُ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا لَا تَبْدِيلَ لِخَلْقِ اللَّهِ. It mentions the natural disposition which mankind has been created upon. لَا تَبْدِيلَ لِخَلْقِ اللَّهِ. You will not see a change in that, in the creation of Allah. Meaning that human beings, they will always believe that there's a creator. Then later on, society may change them to something else. So what the research done, I will try and get you, I don't have it now, I will try and get you the research, because they wrote books on it, etc., where they asked children the purpose behind things. And children, they understood that the sun, the moon, the sky, the animals, everything has a purpose. From this, they understood this natural instinct to understand that this has a purpose. It necessitates that this thing must have been made or designed that way.
The thing is, so there's a couple of things. With natural disposition, even if I accept, which I don't necessarily accept in the way you're saying, it still doesn't get us to God. Because my thing is if somebody says, how do I know that this tent exists? How do I know these headphones exist? It's because I'll have evidence or whatnot. Did you not take? Sorry. Oh,
sorry.
I'm gonna come back there. Notice. They having evidence for it, and the things that I can do in terms of being able to prove that these headphones, your jacket, or anything exists. We can't do anything comparable for the claims that God or Allah exists. So for me, I don't have sufficient reason to warrant all the things. I think there needs to be a distinction between somebody asserting something and somebody having sufficient evidence to warrant. Because the things that you're talking about fall in the category of assertions. That's very different and separate from what would be deemed as sufficient evidence. It's because the claims that you're saying, or some of them, like, it's not testable, it's not verifiable. We can't raise like a hypothesis.
I'm coming to that.
And things of this nature.
I'm coming to that. So the conclusion which they took from the questioning of multiple children, many children, was that children, they understood design and purpose. So I think we discussed this before. For example, believing in God. We would say that the sun, that God has chosen intellectually, by choice, by ability to make the sun. And the reason why he made the sun was to give light, to give energy, to give heat, for the process of time, the alternation of the day and the night, the seasons, etc. That's why the sun exists. Okay.
But then
let me finish. Don't mind. From the atheist point of view, the sun would exist by a random process.
That's not the atheist view, but
what would be the atheist view?
So my position as an atheist, and there's different types of atheism, strong atheists.
Yeah.
But my position is simply this: you're making a claim that God exists,
Yes.
and I'll do an analogy. You're making a claim that a God exists. I'm saying I'm not convinced of that claim.
No problem, no problem.
And all I'm saying to
Yeah.
you, that doesn't mean
Yes.
that I'm saying no God exists. That's not my position. Some hard atheists will say there is no God.
No
Or
problem.
maybe there's some in religious texts where certain claims contradict one another, where you can say, well, a God that believed or has said that couldn't exist because
problem.
claims are
Yeah.
competing. But
That would be an interpretation of who God is.
yeah, I think that the easiest way in which to explain it is, let's say God is on trial for existing. You're saying that he's guilty of existing. I'm saying that he's not guilty. That doesn't mean God is innocent. It just means he's not guilty. So the claim is on guilt.
Alhamdulillah, I don't agree with your analogy, but let me just continue with this point.
That means you don't agree with the court system.
No, not in the way you set it up that God is on in court.
I'm saying by way of analogy. If we were to
we
try and
accept the
explain.
principle that you're innocent until proven guilty. We accept that. But the way you made it, does God exist or not, I don't agree with. But back to the sun.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't believe in a creator with knowledge, with ability, with intent, they would have to say that the sun exists without being created.
You're wrong.
Does it have a creator?
So
Does the sun have a creator? Like,
this is
if the
why.
sun exists, I would say, just to make it clear,
Okay.
if the sun exists,
Yeah.
I would say either you have a creator who created it with a purpose, with a reason, with a design, or you don't have a creator.
So that's a false dichotomy because
Yeah.
those are not the only two options.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is we don't know
What are
the
the other
options.
options?
So one of them
Yeah.
is we don't know. We just don't know how it got there. And I'm saying to you, I'm okay.
Is that reasonable?
That is reasonable. Sometimes I give
Is it?
I give
Is
you
it
one-
really reasonable? Is it really reasonable that something exists and you can simply say, not for example, if we see something today in Stratford and we don't know how it got there, but we know that someone put it there.
So what I'm saying,
Yeah.
this would be a good analogy.
Yeah.
These headphones, you didn't know that they belonged to me and they were here. And we're saying, you're turning around and you're saying that it's him who put these headphones here. I'm saying I don't have enough evidence to determine who put the headphones here. I agree they exist and I agree it's here. I'm saying there isn't evidence.
You missed the point. But do you agree that someone put them there?
So I agree somebody put them there, but I don't know who.
Okay, so that's the point. And could they have got there without being put there?
So we don't know what the candidate explanation is.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't know who. Actually, could be wrong because it could have been a cat who got it from somewhere, took it and dragged it all the way
still
here.
a someone.
Okay, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
Cat as a someone.
I mean, if he would have said a leaf, we could have said the wind.
Yeah.
But so,
Oh, yes.
so I see, to be honest, I see a hole in your argument.
Okay, go on.
And I think you understand it as well. When we're saying the sun, because the point which I'm trying to come to is because the children recognize there's a purpose, and it was their natural instinct to recognize there's a purpose. This leads to that they under if you develop this, it leads to the fact that someone chose the sun to be like this, someone made it like this, and therefore it has this benefit because it has purpose and it has reason. But I would say, for the atheist point of view, is the sun exists by chance, by random mutation, etc.
I want to say that's the atheist position. Well, to be fair, when it comes to atheism is about
A broad spectrum.
it is about the thing on God. I think what you would be talking about is probably abiogenesis in terms of how the planets in the solar system got here. But I'm saying that in terms of the belief that you hold, that's contradictory to what we know or what we understand about planets, what we understand about the sun being here. Even I'm not an expert in this, but I'm saying that the view that you hold or
There's
religion
a God.
holds, that it was most likely a God, doesn't point to the data of what
Why not?
people.
Why not?
You have to ask a biogenesis.
No,
then.
because let me just finish. Because if we're saying that the sun exists without any thought behind it, without any design behind it, without anyone making it, without any intelligence behind it, then we'd have to say that the heat, the light, the energy it gives are just an unintentional byproduct.
So this is what I mean. There's a lot of assertions that are being made about how things could have been, and in order to say that God is an explanation, you would have to demonstrate that God is a candidate explanation. And I'm saying that for something to even be a possibility, you have to demonstrate that it's within the realms of being possible. And what the reasoning that you're using are assertions to try to get you to the point that you're trying to get to. So for example, I don't know that it was created. I don't know that the sun could have been here. It just could have existed. Or I don't know. And I'm saying, until such time that I have evidence to warrant that I do know, I just withhold belief.
Okay.
There's nothing...
No. What I say here is, I would say there's two options, and I would say you've introduced a third one, which I don't understand. I'll explain why. The sun existing. I would say either there's a being with knowledge, with ability and intent, who has created the sun this way, or the sun has come about by some blind, random process, and it just so happens that it brings about these benefits. And you're bringing a third option of just, I don't know.
So the thing is, sometimes we just don't. I think humans, we have issues with not knowing, myself included. And sometimes the most intellectually honest position to hold is, I don't know the art. And this is what leads to scientific exploration. Once upon a time, we didn't know how orbit worked. In terms of, once upon a time, we thought, we didn't realize that it was the planets going around the sun. And we thought once upon a time it was the other way around. And when we didn't know, we said it was God. Until such time where we realized, oh, actually, this is how orbit works. And I'm saying it was arrogant.
No. Even when you say this is how orbit works, like just a brief example. This is what I've heard.
Yeah.
People have said when you have the satellites orbiting the Earth, the satellites are designed in a particular way that they orbit the Earth.
But your design is an assertion. You have to demonstrate design.
The satellites are not designed that way.
What do you mean by
the satellites? When you have a satellite, you put a satellite up. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine.
So you can watch football on.
No. You're right. Yeah.
So they've been designed in that way. They have measurements. They have tracking. Even then, I understand that they have to be adjusted every so often because they come off course, etc. So I would say that pattern of knowledge, ability, and intent has put the satellites there.
Yeah.
So I would say when you say that when we didn't know, we said it was God, but now we know how the planets orbit in the universe. That still doesn't answer who laid down those rules, or why are there rules, or why does it follow that pattern, or why does it do it. I would say that still points to a creator.
No, but physicists or people who study this and can tell you this a lot better than I can, they will give you the breakdown of why this happens. I can't do it as
why
good
or
as
how?
How, and that will lead you maybe to a why.
No, but even then, for example, if we take, for example, the process of a human being coming into existence, into life, and the scientists explain, from the male, from the female, how the baby develops in the mother's womb, etc. All the processes, how the energy is or the nutrition is transferred, how the baby. Even if you explain in minute detail the whole process from the first conception
Yeah.
until the time we die. Even if you explain that, it still doesn't negate a creator. It still doesn't negate someone who's laid down those rules and that position.
What we're trying to do, or I say you're trying to do, is argue by way of analogy.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that we know that there's creators behind the satellites, or we know that there's creators behind these headphones or certain things, because there's evidence of creation, and not like this hasn't come about naturally. There's no evidence that if I just left these things by themselves, but there's evidence of things coming together by themselves, like naturally, like human beings. The issue is, or plants, or trees, or tomatoes, or whatever it may be. The issue is when we go one step further, and then we say, but then it must have been because of a God. You have to demonstrate that there is a creator. And I'm saying, what you're doing is you're asserting something, but you can't evidence. You're saying because these headphones had a creator, then therefore humans must have had a creator by God, or because buildings can't come up. And I'm saying that doesn't logically follow.
Okay. Because just to summarize so far, I don't know, we've been talking maybe 20 minutes or so. So the first thing I put forward was the natural disposition. I believe that human beings naturally, they recognize a God. My arguments for that were throughout history. Different tribes, different countries, different nations, we always find that they believe in some higher power, some supreme being, even if it's multiple, even if they use different names, different practices, whether it's right or wrong, etc. But human beings, I would say, they have naturally this belief. Now we come to the point you brought up, or the point we moved on to, was because the universe exists and we have what appears to be design, then it would, the fact that if we have creation, there should be a creator. Now, still I want to understand is when we have this thing of, I would say there's two choices. There's a creator or there isn't a creator. And therefore it's just random by chance. And you're saying that there could be a third option. There could be, I don't know. So I want to understand from a reasonable point of view, from a logical point of view, how this could exist or how there could be a third option.
So what I'm saying is, the analogy of when you have, let's say a crime is committed and you're trying to find out who killed so-and-so. I'm saying we don't have enough evidence to warrant a conclusion that it was this specific person. You're saying to me, based on the evidence, you know that it had to have been Jack. And I'm saying we just don't have enough information that supports that it could be Jack. And I don't even know that Jack is even a candidate explanation because he wasn't in the country at the time of it. He might not, he wasn't even in the country. He was somewhere else. I don't know, he was out of space.
Okay.
I'm
he
saying
was on holiday.
He was on holiday, whatever. But we have to demonstrate that God is a candidate explanation. And you haven't reached your burden of proof in demonstrating that God is a candidate explanation. So I'm warranted in turning around and saying to you that I don't know.
Okay. I would say we had the same conversation before. The same conversation, I remember it. You spoke about a murder, and you mentioned 3 people.
Yeah.
One was, if the example you gave was similar to this. So, which we normally do. When I talk about religion, people, if they hear me again, they say, oh, you gave the example before. But I think you've fallen into, you've contradicted yourself, or you shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, go.
Because you still understand the who. When you mentioned before, when over there when it was raining, you mentioned a person, there's a dead body. That person was in a relationship with a woman and he's abusive to the woman, etc. And there was a baby in the cot. And you said we can say that it's not the baby because the baby's not strong enough. The woman may have had a motivation, but it could have been someone else. And that's the same thing you've done here. When you say who,
I think
But you know, but here,
I could change it slightly, and I think a better one. So what I was trying to get at
let me
was,
finish my point.
Okay, go on.
When you, your natural way of thinking has understood that there's a murder has taken place, and you're looking for a who.
No, but that's okay. So
And your arguments are not based on your argument is based on specifying the identity of the who.
yeah, but that's
But I'm saying by necessity there has to be a who.
no, because I tell you why. All analogies break down at some point, but the reason why it's not a good example is I was talking more about evidence. The issue in terms of saying,
But your evidence is to find out who done it.
Yeah, but
your evidence is not to find out if someone done it. You know someone done it.
I would give you a better example.
Yeah.
If we want to make it more similar to what we're discussing, it would be somebody saying, "Oh, God did it." So let's say I'm saying there's 3 people, a baby.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's the man's wife or ex-wife, and it's his brother, and then a 4th that somebody's put is God did it, and I'm saying I have no evidence that a God has done anything. I have no demonstration that a God has killed some, and I'm saying
You're still not helping yourself because you're still looking for a who.
no. I'm saying you
are still doing it.
no, but
you're
that's
still-
because
you're
of the nature of the claim.
No, but you're still looking for a who.
But I don't think there's any issue with that, and the reason why I don't think there's
No,
any
because you know that if a murder took place, if it wasn't suicide, for example, that the way the person died or the angle,
be a fifth, actually.
etc. But we're saying that's by evidence that's being counted out.
I don't think there's any issue
But
with the who.
you're still looking for a who. So therefore, I would say when you have, that's my point. When you have, if you call it Allah or if you call it Brahman or if you call it Jesus, for those Christians who believe Jesus is the creator of the heavens and the earth, that's a separate question. But my point is, when I said about the Son, I'm saying there's a creator, regardless of the identity of the creator, or there isn't a creator, and you're saying, actually, no, there's another option of I don't know. But when it comes to the murder, you can say, I don't know who done it. We don't have sufficient evidence, but you know someone done it.
I'll explain to you why.
But you know someone done it.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's an issue with that. The reason why it's a
But that's
who-
the analogy you put forward.
No,
Yeah.
I agree with it. I'm saying if you want to try and argue that point, I don't think it's a good point to argue. And the reason being is, due to the nature of what we're discussing, it has to be a who. It's like, it's trying to say, oh, we're arguing what was a possible candidate explanation that food randomly got put on the table. And I'm saying that has to be a who. For all we know, we have no knowledge that, all our knowledge leads to that chefs make food. So it, by its very nature of the analogy, it has to be a who. I'm saying that's very different from the claim about a God. I'm saying I have no reason to think or no demonstration that a who has created a sun, or who has created a planet.
Okay.
I don't have a demonstration of that. So if we're talking about the point that was missed, was about how you
But you're
understand evidence.
still looking for a who
No,
when it comes to the
I
murder.
agree, but
when it
I'm
comes
telling you
when it
why.
comes to the universe.
So the issue is this.
Yeah.
To take issue with me saying it's a who, you can't really do that, because when we're talking about who, the thing about a murder, it would have to be a who. If we're talking about who created food or who created headphones, it would have to be a who, because of the nature of what we're talking about.
Okay.
I'm saying when we're talking about a sun or we're talking about a planet being created, I don't have any evidence that, to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have any knowledge of humans or a who or animals creating planets or creating suns. So I don't know how I would use that as a candidate explanation. And that's the thing I'm taking issue with. You're turning around and you're saying that it's plausible for a who to create a sun, and I'm saying
No. I'm saying you got two choices, and you're saying you got a third. So I'm saying you got an intelligent being. Or random.
That's fine. So
Just random. And you're saying
to
no. It's possible to say I don't know.
I'm saying I don't. I'm logically justified.
I don't think so.
Because I don't have a demonstration.
I don't think you're logically. I think that you're you're putting forward I don't know in order to avoid addressing the two options.
You're saying that
Yeah.
it's an option,
Yeah.
that it could have been a who. So I'm going to try and put this into a logical form. And this is what we call syllogisms in logic. The first premise is that it's possible that a who could have created a planet, the sun, or whatnot. That's the first premise. Then the second premise would have to be there's a demonstration of it.
Yeah.
We can't get to a logical conclusion that a who did it, because the second premise, there isn't a demonstration that humans or a who can create. It can't be an option. And you're saying that it is an option. And what I'm asking for you is to show me you're working out that that is possible, which is something that you can't do.
Okay.
Yes or no to what I just said?
No. I'll
So
tell you what.
so
I'll tell
you
you
can
what.
demonstrate that.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why.
No, not tell me why.
No, what you've done here is you framed it a particular way.
So
But I'm still coming back to my framing. My framing is the sun exists, okay?
This is my issue, and this is
Yeah.
why I don't want you to frame it another way.
Yeah.
Because in logical form,
Yeah.
when it comes to syllogisms and arguments,
What do you mean by syllogism?
so a syllogism is
Yeah.
a logical argument where typically
Give me a very simple example which we can agree on. And
so,
then, yeah.
so one of like a so a
Yeah.
classic example would be all men are mortals.
I am a man, therefore I'm gonna die.
No, close. But it's something like all men are. What is the? I've even forgotten it. Something
No
like
problem,
all men are mortal.
Yeah.
Nah, this is. I'm slightly butchering it, but I think we still get it.
No problem.
It's something like all humans are mortals.
Okay.
Socrates is human. Therefore, Socrates is mortal.
Yeah, clear.
Do you see how the
Yes.
premises,
Yes.
they logically follow one another, and it leads to a conclusion?
Yeah.
So if, in argumentation,
Yeah.
if the premises are in valid form,
Yeah.
the structure of it is valid, and you accept the claims in each premise as being true, which refers to the soundness of the premise, then you can get to a conclusion that is logically correct.
Yeah,
What-
but
what I'm-
I can frame my argument like that as well.
What I'm saying to
Yeah.
you is that we can't get there because the premise we can both agree with. So you're saying that it's possible.
No. Look, let's put it your way. Everything that didn't exist and has come into existence requires a being to bring it into existence.
I don't agree.
Okay. Let me finish my point and then you can tell me why you don't agree. The universe exists, therefore there has to be a creator brought into existence. Okay. Now, for you not to agree, everything that didn't exist, I'm saying what we can determine, what we can test. Everything that we can determine, everything we can test that didn't exist and was brought into existence, it requires someone who brings it into existence. I would say for you to say that's wrong, you're going to have to demonstrate me something that came into existence without a creator.
Oh, so the burden of proof
Yeah.
is on the person typically on the person making the positive claim. You haven't met your burden of proof, and until such time, I'm warranted in withholding or holding my position.
Okay, let me make my proof. I'm saying everything that we can determine and everything we can demonstrate and which we agree upon, if it didn't exist, we know that a being brought it into existence, and that being had knowledge, power, capability, and intent. So, the headphones you said, the microphones, the coat you're wearing.
The last time we did this,
Yeah.
I used the example of the water cycle
Yeah.
or water.
Yeah.
and this is a natural element as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
You're saying that no, it had to have a creator. So this is for us to get to a point.
Can you demonstrate it? No, because
No, you're saying that. I'm not.
No. Because I'm not talking about water, because water is a natural thing which when we're talking
But
about
it exists.
It exists, yes. Listen to me carefully. I'm saying those things which we can demonstrate. Because here we're discussing, did the God create water or not? Did the God create the cycle or not?
I don't want to put words into your mouth, but isn't your argument that everything exists has a creator?
That's my argument. Everything we can demonstrate.
So are you telling me that you can't demonstrate that? No, let me not put words into your mouth. What do you mean by when you say demonstrate?
No problem. So, for example, this microphone,
Yeah.
this bag,
Yeah.
this camera,
Yeah.
and the list is endless. The watch, the bus, the building. We know that when they didn't exist, somebody brought them into existence. And that something had knowledge, it had a level of intellect, it had capability, and intended to do this.
For those things, yes, but I'm saying for other things like water that exist, what about those things?
No problem. So that's what we're discussing. Human beings, the universe, the water. Does it have a creator?
Water, grass, the fruit, fruit,
etc.
all of these natural things, because your argument is this planet has a creator.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you is you have to demonstrate that it has a creator. And I'm saying until such time that you can
my demonstration is very simple. It exists, therefore it has a creator.
So we got back to the point.
So I'm saying is, if you can demonstrate how something which didn't exist can come into existence without these three necessities, knowledge, capability, and intent. If you can demonstrate how this is possible, then I would say now you can make a reasonable case that the universe could exist without.
But that's not how logic works, because you
Why
have.
not? It's logical to me.
I know it's logical to you, but
it makes perfect sense to me.
But I'll demonstrate why.
Yeah.
The reason why we know something is created is because we have a demonstration of a creator.
Yes.
That's why we know that something is created and something's not created.
Yes.
That's how we distinguish between the two.
Yes.
Until such time that you can demonstrate that there is a creator.
Can you carry that rule across to all things which we understand? Like, for example, the headphones, you haven't seen the creator, maybe you don't know when it was made, but because of your experience, that anything like this has to have knowledge, ability, and intent. Therefore, I'm going to make the same claim or the same assertion for the headphones.
That doesn't work, because even if I don't technically know, if we spent enough time between us, we could do the research and we'd be like, okay, this was made in a manufacturing plant somewhere, and we can get the evidence that people on an assembly line, or it could have been one individual, created this using certain resources, elements, blah, blah, blah. The same thing can be done with this banner, the same thing can be done with this pole and anything.
I agree.
The same thing can be done with buildings, buses.
I agree.
We get it. So the issue is when we're talking about things like grass, fruits, and somebody is claiming, or the planet, and is claiming, because I know this was created, it logically follows that it must have had a creator. I'm saying I haven't seen the creative process or the manufacturing process to demonstrate that a who, a god, a someone, an entity can create something of this magnitude. It's not reasonable to argue by analogy, because the thing is about analogies always break down at some point because they're analogous by their very nature. They're not supposed to be the same.
Okay, so look, on that point, I would still say, then I would ask you to demonstrate something which you can actually demonstrate, given time, given research, the same way you could find out who made this. I would like you to demonstrate something which you can actually positively demonstrate didn't exist, came into existence without knowledge, capability, and intent. Because I would say that this, as far as I understand, it is a, how do you say?
It's ultimately an assertion because you
It's an assertion which you cannot. I mean, you can have all the time you want. Show me something which didn't exist. It was brought into existence without knowledge, ability.
That's not how reasoning works. The fact that I
Why
don't
not?
know, the fact that I don't know the answer doesn't mean that your answer is correct. That isn't how logic works.
Of course. No. But what I'm saying,
that's what you're arguing.
No, that's not my argument. That's not my argument.
I'll tell you why.
My argument is.
You're saying I don't know.
No, that's not my argument.
So you're warranted in holding the belief that you hold.
No. That's like me saying, because you don't know who made these headphones, and even though you could have the opportunity to find out, because you don't know, then I can say, well, until you know, these headphones could have made themselves. And I don't think that anyone would believe that. So I'm not saying it's because you personally in front of me now, you don't know. I'm saying I don't understand, I don't think, I don't know that you can find something and demonstrate something which didn't exist and came into existence without knowledge, capability, and intent. So I'm saying if that's the ground rule, if that's the foundation, then I'm going to apply that to the creation.
But why don't we just say I think the natural world is the best example of that. Because all the available information that we have about how humans or the planet has come to be, the solar system, is through natural means.
What natural means?
So I'm saying in terms of, let's say, the water cycle, or in terms of photosynthesis and whatnot.
No, so you're saying you can demonstrate natural means how water came to exist?
No, so your argument.
My example is because it exists. My argument is because the universe exists, because we exist, and all that it contains. But obviously, we can give a long list. I say it necessitates a creator
who has knowledge, power, and what was the other one?
And intent.
And what I'm saying to you is that the available information to date about how the natural world has come to be doesn't accord with the position that you hold. Because if you're talking about the solar system, if you're talking about grass, if you're talking about water cycle, sedimentary rocks, volcanic activity.
Okay, let's make it simple. You demonstrate to me something in the universe which came about without a creator.
So I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I still hold.
Is it an assertion? Can you prove it?
I still hold a position that I don't know. But what I would say, the available information in terms of data, abiogenesis, and whatnot, because I'm not going to adopt the burden of proof. It's not for me to.
Why not? No, because look, all that we know, our human experience says that if something didn't exist and it came into existence, it requires a being with knowledge, capability, and intent. And you're saying, and I'm saying, if that's what we know, then I'm saying that applies for the universe and ourselves. And if you're saying it's possible that the universe ourselves came about without a God, without a creator, I'm asking you to, demonstrate to me. Demonstrate to me how's that feasible.
So I'm saying to you, I don't know, and I'm saying the explanation regarding how we've got here, the best available information to date is based on it coming about by natural needs, by natural means.
So demonstrate water coming about by natural means.
So I'm saying biologists can explain this way better than I can.
They can't. The biologists and the scientists, etc. Like, for example, I have a friend. He studied empirical physics. He said that they were in the class. They were asked like the color of something, and if I remember correctly, the example the teacher gave, he held up something which was purple. So he said purple. Then he asked them to explain why is it purple, and because they're far more intelligent than me. They explained about, the light
rays
and all this, and how this color came. And then the teacher, he kept on pushing them. But why? But why? But why? And he said that they reached a point where simply they can't explain it.
So I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. The available information to date just explains natural means. And if you're...
It doesn't. I think that's your interpretation because, for example, when you explain, like for example, when we gave the example of the human body or the human life, when we explain it, all the processes it goes through. When we explain how milk comes from cows, etc., this still doesn't provide evidence that this could happen without a creator.
No, but this is the issue is...
Because your argument is basically, I'm going to say there's three options. One is there's a creator. One is there isn't a creator. This just came into existence without a creator, without knowledge, without power, without intent. It just exists. And you're saying that there's a third option of simply we don't know, but there could be another answer. And you're saying that's the most reasonable position. But I'm saying you can't even demonstrate that that's a possibility.
No, I'm saying to you, we don't have enough data. So I think this will be a one-liner, and I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there who's going to try and correct me. But in terms of abiogenesis, in terms of like the Big Bang,
I don't know what this is,
and all of that, I only understand it at a very rudimentary level. But they're saying before that point, we don't have a way to be able to understand what happened. And even the idea of there being a before might not make even sense. And our local presentation of time in terms of the Big Bang and then how...
And what caused the Big Bang?
This is my point. So before that point, if before even makes sense, we don't know. We just don't know what led to that, whether it could have been, as you say, a creator, whether it could have been something that we don't know. We don't have enough data to be able to arrive at a conclusion.
Why would it not be a creator?
Because we don't have evidence of a creator.
The creation is evidence of a creator. That's my whole point. If we have
to call it a creation, you have to demonstrate that there is a creator.
That's a valid point. But by the fact that we have design, we have purpose, we have a system, then this implies that there is a knowledgeable creator.
An assertion isn't demonstration of sufficient evidence. And this is why you can't, the claims that you're making, since we've had a discussion, they're not testable and they're not falsifiable. There's no way for us to be able to put this through some kind of test, to be able to, where we can get...
It's very simple. It's very simple. I think I've repeated it a few times. Demonstrate something to me which came into existence, which didn't exist.
That's not how the burden of proof works. Let me
finish. Explain to me how something which didn't exist came into existence.
So this...
you don't mind if I finish?
Do you know what? I'll let you finish, but I'll tell you what. Go on.
Explain to me how something which didn't exist came into existence, can come into that existence without knowledge, without being with knowledge, capability, and intent. And then I can give you so many examples on a level which we agree upon. The headphones, the building, etc. And when I ask you to show me something which you can actually demonstrate, your example was water. But you haven't demonstrated how water came into existence without a creator.
So
for it to be an option.
So my argument is this. Even the phrasing of that question is problematic because that isn't how the burden of proof works. If you're making a claim that a God exists, you have to be able to test that claim. You can't ask me, but demonstrate how that couldn't be the case. The focus is on your claim, which a God exists. So what we need to ask is we need a demonstration of how a who, a someone, an entity can create worlds, can create solar systems and whatnot. the fact that I can't demonstrate what you're asking me to demonstrate
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're warranted in holding the position that it must have had to have been a creator of the world.
Why don't you think I'm warranted?
So what I'm saying is
Because
that,
you're saying, you're basically saying in a simple layman's term, you think it is possible.
so I'm saying
You think it's possible.
possibility has to be demonstrated, and I'm saying I pointed out the flaws in the argument of arguing by analogy.
No. You're saying it's possible that something which didn't exist and has come into existence, you're saying it is possible that could have come without an intelligent being, a creator,
To
a
be
God.
fair, my position is I don't know. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying because when I say, I use the water example, that was just an explanation of me saying that all the available information just points to natural means.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What is that natural information which
So
you brought up a number of times that says what is your natural
So
what's your natural evidence that water exists without a creator?
So I'm saying in terms of like science, how we understand hydrogen and oxygen molecules coming together and creating water.
Okay, but who made the hydrogen? Who made the oxygen? Like, because you're making a very big assertion. That
I'm not making it.
You are, but you're saying that because when I asked you to demonstrate something which came into existence
saying
without a
physics.
creator, you said water.
So I'm saying physics.
So how did water? Show me how water came into existence without a creator.
So
Because I understand that's the point we're discussing.
Yeah, so I'm saying is that when
Yeah.
you have hydrogen molecules and oxygen molecules and they come together, you get H2O.
Okay.
And
So
that's
who made the hydrogen? Who made the oxygen?
it's not about it's how. So it's about physics, the process of physics.
Okay. So how did the process of physics make hydrogen, make oxygen, make them come together and form into water?
So that's just a natural chemical reaction. When you get those two molecules that combine in a certain way, that's just what happens.
Why? But who made that rule? Who made
But
that
you're
instruction?
making an assertion that it's a who, and that's what you need to demonstrate.
No, because when I'm asking you, either there's a who, or there isn't a who,
I don't know that there's a who.
and you're saying you don't know.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't know.
So when I asked you to demonstrate something which comes into existence, I asked you to demonstrate something which comes into existence without knowledge, without capability, and without intent. You said water. Okay. So now this is not a I don't know position.
No, I'm saying
Okay,
when you've asked for an explanation, there is if somebody said how has water, how do we have it here? And I'm saying if you ask a biologist or you ask people who study this field, they'll say through evaporation, through condensation, when you get hydrogen and oxygen molecules that combine in a certain way, through physics, we get water. And I'm saying that's my naturalistic explanation of how this has how we have it here on this planet.
So
you're saying to me, we go one step further, but how did that get here?
No. I used, but no, because I asked a very specific question.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't word it well or you missed it. Are you saying that the water exists without a who?
I don't know that the water can exist because of a who or without a who, but I'm saying the available information that we have today just points to naturalistic means, as I've just explained.
You haven't explained. You're explaining from a scientific point of view what water is, how water functions. But how did it come into existence? That's what I'm saying. I'm asking you. My point was very simple. Can you demonstrate something which came into existence without a
No,
who?
but I'm saying
Yeah.
you need to demonstrate. So this is the line of reasoning.
Yeah.
You're making a claim
Yes.
that God exists and God is creator of all.
Yes.
I'm saying you need to demonstrate that a God has done these things. And I'm saying until such time, you can't argue from a way of analogy that
Why
because
not?
because
For example,
I'm saying the reason why you have proof
Yes.
that this has a creator is because we can show you the manufacturing process. The same way we could do with these cameras, phones, blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying to you you can't do anything that's comparable about the claim that a God has created the planet or whatnot. And I've even given you the reason why arguing by analogy has its problems. And
no problem. But can you? It's still the same argument.
But I want you to focus on this argument, not the fact that I can't demonstrate. I want you. Don't go to the argument of, well, can you explain something that hasn't come about by? It's your claim that I just want to solely focus on, and I want you to focus on demonstrating.
No, my claim isn't opposite to your claim.
I'm not. All I'm doing.
My claim is in opposition to your claim. Okay.
My claim is just I don't know.
No.
And if you ask me for an explanation about certain things, I will just explain it through natural means.
From my position, let me see. Allah mentioned in the Quran, إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار آيات لأولي الألباب. Allah says, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and in the alternation of the day and the night, there's signs for people of understanding. People who use their understanding, their reason, their intellect. So, my point is still, we are going around in circles. But let me finish. My point is, look, I'm making a claim that from our human understanding, if something didn't exist and then it comes into existence in a functioning manner, in an orderly manner, we only know that there had to be someone who made it. And that someone...
I'm saying that's not true.
Let me finish. No, I'm saying everything we can demonstrate, that who had to have knowledge, had to have ability, and had to have intent. Now, I'm saying that when we take that and we say, okay, the universe exists, the planet we're upon exists, we exist, and I'm saying that there has to be a creator who has knowledge, who has ability, and has intent. Regardless if it's the Islamic God, the Christian God, put that to the side. But I'm saying that there has to be a creator. Now, for you to say, well, no, I don't, like Allah mentioned in the Quran, كَيْفَ تَكْفُرُونَ بِاللَّهِ. How do you disbelieve in Allah? How do you disbelieve in a God? I want you to give another option to show that, no, I know.
I don't have to give another option, and this is the problem. The focus has to be on your claim. It's like somebody turning around, and I'm going to go back to the.
Yeah, but my claim is built. So my claim is built on the fact that you can't give another option.
No, but that's not how reasoning works, and I'll tell you why. And I said this before, but you're saying no, that's not what you're saying, but it is. The fact that I don't have an explanation doesn't mean that you're warranted in holding your view. And I'm saying, the fact that I don't know something doesn't mean that we get to say that God is the most plausible thing. You have to demonstrate, and you have to reach a burden of proof. The fact that I can't come up with something doesn't mean that you're warranted in saying, oh, so then, because you have to jump through all of these hoops in terms of you have to demonstrate. And this is why I'm saying we need to isolate the arguments. Simply put, if God was on trial for whether he existed or not, you haven't met your burden of proof in providing evidence that God exists.
I disagree. Firstly,
and I said, to go back to what you're saying, you're saying because whenever we've demonstrated that something has a creator, like the headphones or a bus or a car, whatever it may be, you're saying that it warrants then believing that the earth that we live in and everything else must have a creator. And I've said to you, the problem's in arguing by way of analogy. And I'm saying you have to, the reason why we know that there's a creator is because we can demonstrate the creative process, the manufacturing process. And I'm saying to you, we can't do anything comparable for the claim that a God exists or a God being a creator.
Of course we can. So of course we can. What? Of course we can. Because by the fact that the universe exists, the fact that we exist, the fact that the air we breathe, the fact that the lungs to breathe with, the fact that the water cycle, the fact that we use the water, the fact that we plants grow, we eat the plants, digest the food, etc. All of this shows that there has to be a creator. Unless, and for someone to say that's not true, I would say for you have to now present an argument why that's not true.
No, so this is the differences between
So
understanding.
now you made a statement that that's not true.
No,
so,
I'm saying your reasoning, not the conclusion.
Yeah.
The fact that there could or couldn't be a God, I don't know. But in terms of the conclusion, not the conclusion, the reasoning.
Yeah.
And I'm saying the fact that we merely exist or we're here, that's not evidence that that's from a God. You have to prove.
Of course it is. Because you can't prove how the universe can come into existence without a God.
But so this is what I'm saying. The fact that
without a creator.
The fact that I can't demonstrate it.
Yeah.
And this is why I hold the position of I don't know. I'm not even saying.
No, but you have, when you say I don't know, I would say you're going to have to, for you to say I don't know, it's just, I would say it's a mask of ignorance. Because you have options in front of you, and you're just saying you don't know.
No, but
because when you say I don't know, I would expect you to say, well, there's this option, but I don't think it works for this reason. There's this option.
But you have to demonstrate that God is even a candidate explanation in the first place. And my issue as to why I don't accept the rationale that's being put forward is because you can't do something that's comparable to the way that you can. We know creation because we have evidence of creation. I can show you the exact process as to how buildings, headphones, and everything is created. But I can't do anything even remotely comparable for the
But the problem
claim.
is, even in all these things you can demonstrate, you cannot show anything which has come into existence without knowledge, without capability, and without an intent. So, but then for you to say, I have no evidence which I can demonstrate for this, but I think it's possible that the universe and myself came into existence like this, I think you're just, it's a mask of ignorance.
So I'll give you an example.
Sorry, can I say one very quickly? I'm going to go and pray.
Yeah.
So I'll let you make the conclusion.
No, it's cool. So if we were on, I think what you're trying to get at is the fact that I can't disprove the claim. And
you can't present any other reasonable option.
So this is why I say I don't know, because I don't know what the answer is.
But I don't think you have a justification to say you don't know.
So this is why we go back and we focus on what you're saying, and your position is that.
I believe my position is justified, and I don't think your position is justified.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So my thing to you is, you have the evidence sufficiently that God has created the planets or everything that we know to be has come from a God. And I'm saying all the things that you're using, have flaws in it in terms of you're arguing from intelligent design, which
I never brought that up, but anyway.
No, but it's a form of argument, or should I say a categorization of argument in terms of.
Just make your conclusion on what we discussed.
So yeah, all it is that because we don't have evidence, we don't get to hold the creation or God being a creator as a candidate explanation. And until such time as you can demonstrate, or any other person can, I'm warranted in saying I don't know. And that's it. Simple as that.
I disagree. But thank you for your time.
Brother, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, because I'm going to go and pray now. But if you're around, we can continue or another Saturday.
Oh, let me give you.
Yeah, it's theirs. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do you have mic? Do you have another mic? Oh yeah, this other mic. Oh, free. I didn't even realize. Nice one. Thank you very much. Yusuf, I have to confess, I'm a scoundrel. I'm a fraud. I'm a rebel.
In every Christian Bible, in the New Testament, in the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 2. chapter 1, verse 2.
Paul is writing this. Okay? What does Paul say? Paul says, grace and peace to you from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So this verse does not mention that Jesus was God. Okay? It says grace and peace to you from God our Father
And that's one.
and the Lord Jesus
Hey,
Christ.
wait a second. In the Psalms,
So-
yeah. Wait, excuse me. I'm asking the question. In the
Is
Psalms,
this verse
no,
true?
Excuse me. I'm asking the question. In the Psalms,
You
the
moved
Psalms,
from
the
this
king,
verse.
The King David was saying that he was saying about the Jesus that he's gonna take him from the hell. That's what I'm not gonna give you excellent, yeah. So, what we believe in our Christianity that the Jesus
Yeah.
is a God. Yeah.
Jesus
So
is
no,
God.
No, it's a word of the God.
Okay.
Who became a flesh.
Okay.
Yeah. Who became a flesh, who became a human, who took our sins, died for us.
Yeah.
No.
So Jesus became
do you know,
so Jesus became flesh.